Okay, hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to another Infosyte webinar. It's called Mastering Your Cloud Migration Journey with AWS. I am Kosila, your host for today. And let me just tell you, this session is going to be an interactive one, and we will be exploring the world of AWS cloud migration. So hope you have grabbed your favorite coffee, tea, or energy juice by your side because I'll be needing 120% of your focus for the next 1 hour, okay? So I will be moving on to the objective of this webinar. The first one will be we would like to understand what AWS cloud migration planning is and what are the migration models that we have and what are the migration challenges that an organization might face. And there are a lot of key points actually that is going to be covered. Let me just go over the ones that are on the top of my head right now. So the first one is to how we want to kickstart a successful AWS cloud migration. The second one is what are the AWS strategies, migration strategies, and what are the workloads that you should prioritize? And lastly, what are the common cloud migration challenges that the organization might face? Right now, I would like to introduce to you all the man of the hour, who actually already exposed himself in the chat box, but it's okay. There he is. He is a speaker that I feel like you all should pay very close attention to because he's not just an AWS authorized instructor, he is also an AAI champion. Yes. So from enterprise cloud transformation to empowering IT teams across the region, Mr. Luke has guided thousands on the AWS journey, and right now he's here to do the same for you all. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Luke. Mr. Luke, are you there?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Pasila, for the well introduction right here. So once again, my name is Luke. Of course, thanks everyone for taking our time off an hour here before lunch to join us for this webinar session here. So we'll be going through a very short webinar right here, short but quite detailed to help everyone to understand. Like I can see through the Q&A earlier, some of you are experienced or some of you are moving, some of you are new. No risk. This webinar is for all and everyone to join here, whether you're just beginning or you're already one foot into the AWS cloud journey right here. All right. So like Kosila mentioned, if there's any questions that you guys would like to ask throughout the entire session, feel free to put it into the chat. We will have a Q&A session towards the end, where of course I will look at it. Of course, we'll go through the questions and answer with everyone as well. But without further ado, let's dive into our just a very short session right here. All right, just a very short one of our mastering our cloud migration journey with AWS right here. All right, so just a gentle reminder, if there's any questions at all, feel free to ask, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll have a look at it once in a while. Then of course we will have a short Q&A sessions towards the end as well. All right, now allow me to just share my screen first. Okay, just checking with everyone if you could see my screen clearly here. Mastering your cloud migration journey with AWS. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, perfect. Yes, we can.
All right, that's good. Then perfect. Then let's just begin here. Like I mentioned, it's just a very short, simple item. But if there's any question, feel free to ask. Okay, so as we know right now, just a quick introduction about AWS itself. All right. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services here. It's a enterprise cloud data centers that basically allows anyone, any user, whether you're an individual user or whether you're an organization as well, you're working for a company and you want to move towards the cloud environment, either one would do here. All right. So AWS started all the way back in 2005. All right. So they've been around. Yeah, this is their 20th years being around, available to the public environment. They started since then and they have evolved tremendously. Now, do take note, out of the 20 years that they've been running, this is quite important as well to understand how we can master our migration journey here, because in cloud environment, there is always a continuous improvement, which we will see later on. I'll explain how that works, of course. And we're going to see how we do part of only the migration part. Do take note, for this session here, of course, we won't really go into the detailed services about AWS. We're just going to cover more on the migration part. But of course, for those who are new, I'll explain a little bit on what does AWS do or what are the benefits of using AWS as well. Now, with any migration journey, whether you're doing like an on-prem environment, you're moving house, let's say you're just moving one house, all right? You're moving one house to another house, for example, you're moving one house or you want to move towards a hotel, an Airbnb, just for a short holiday, doesn't matter, all right? What's the first and foremost things that we need to do here? That would be a proper planning, correct? How long are we going to stay there? Where are we going to stay? How much are you willing to spend, for example? All right, your budget, your comfort, for example. So a proper planning will lead to a very well-planned holiday. Let's say we're going for a holiday. It's going to lead to a very well-planned holiday right here. All right. So one of the most important one, actually throughout the entire session right here, your migration planning is one of the most important items that we'll be looking at. All right. Then second item on our agenda here, we'll be looking at the migration models as well. So let's say, I assume most of us here are from Malaysia, because I think this webinar is open to Malaysia, maybe international as well. But let's say if you're in Malaysia, let's say we're in Kuala Lumpur, for example. All right, we want to go on a holiday. Let's say we just want to visit Malaysia somewhere around. All right, we want to go Langkawi, we want to go Tioman, we want to go Sabah, Sarawak, for example. We want to visit the East Coast as well. There are various methods we can get to a certain location, correct? Let's say for Langkawi. All right, let's take KL to Langkawi, for example. We can fly there, we can drive there, then we can take a boat as well. If you're feeling adventurous, you can even take a train and a bus. Then, of course, later on, you mix with the boat ride as well, all the way to Langkawi. So same with this migration model right here. One of the phrase that I always repeat in my AWS classes as well, which is also very important for everyone to understand here, is under these migration models right here, technically planning and models together as well, that you have to understand there is multiple solution to a single requirement. Okay, we want to get from KL to Langkawi. All right, that's your requirement. What are the solutions? There are multiple ways that we can go from, of course, KL to Langkawi. You're feeling adventurous. I think some of you can even ride a bicycle. You want to walk. If you're up to it, all right, you want to exercise a little bit. You don't mind taking a few days for your travel. That can be one solution as well. It might be the cheaper solution, but of course you might have to walk or cycle for a long period of time. But those are also part of the migration models, which we will see later. In our migration model, there are 7 different methods you can migrate to cloud. So this might be quite useful to some of you who are moving from Azure to AWS side as well. But as we see, once we do our planning, we have our road plan properly, we have our mode of transportation. All right, we selected our migration model. Now comes the challenges as well. Okay, what are the risks if we are walking or cycling? All right, we're going to walk on the highway. There's a risk of cars coming, for example. All right, we're flying, for example, risk of delay, or maybe it costs more. Driving, traffic jam. All right, you might feel tired, for example. There will always be pros and cons to some items right here. So we're going to look at how we can tackle some of these challenges. We're going to identify them. What are the main challenges that people face when they're looking at migrating, for example, to AWS as well? So once you master all these 3 short and simple items, we're going to go into a little bit of details here. But once you master the planning, the models, and understanding the challenges, you are a master at migrating your services to AWS Cloud right now. All right. Yeah, then we'll of course ended up with just a simple conclusion. Okay, so let's dive right into our migration planning for now. So when we look at, remember, you want to plan for a holiday. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? Do we want to go to an island? Do we just want to go to a staycation, maybe somewhere in Kuala Lumpur as well, for example? Or you want to go to other countries, for example? All of this starts from a proper planning. So when you do a proper planning, there's a few things you have to take into consideration. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What's your budget? All right. And for example, how many days, how long are you planning to use the services right here? So remember, with AWS, it's different. It's not like you're planning for a holiday. You're planning for your workloads, your application. You might want to run a company. And not necessarily just to run a company. Some users even use it for individual planning. All right. If I were to ask a question right here for everyone right now. All right. Kosila asked earlier if anyone has experience with AWS and so on. Some of you say yes and no. But if I were to ask a different type of question, just to chat with everyone. All right. Who here is a cloud user? Anyone can tell me whether yes or no, just a very quick one from the chat. Is anyone here a cloud user? Doesn't matter whether AWS, Azure, for your company, for individual usage, either one. Is anyone here a cloud user? Yes or no only?
Can I answer to that? Okay, there's
Yep.
another answer here, but before that, can I just answer? Does
Yeah.
Apple iCloud count as one? Apple iCloud.
Yep. That's a form of cloud as well. So you can see
Okay,
here.
okay.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Kosila. So Kosila is using Apple iCloud. I can see some of you here answering no, some of you are answering yes. Okay. What if I tell everyone right now, each and every individual one of you in here, I think I can see from the Microsoft Teams, there's 29 of us here. All 29 of us are cloud users. All right. We might not use cloud for the company, but you are definitely using it as an individual user. All right. This Microsoft Teams that we are using right now, this is a cloud platform. It's a video conference hosting environment. Who is running this Microsoft Teams? It's not Infosyte. It's not Kosila. It's not me. It's not you. We are basically just using the software that is hosted by Microsoft to run our video conferencing. This hosting platform is done, of course, some might be charges. Usually Microsoft Teams are free, but these are done on the Microsoft portion. All right, Microsoft is running a free web session. You can use Zoom, you can use Teams and so on. These are all cloud platform as well. And like Kosila mentioned earlier, for Apple user, you are definitely using iCloud. That is part of your storage environment, your cloud storage. For the rest, if you're using, let's say, Google Drive, OneDrive, your Dropbox, these are also a form of cloud environment. So do take note, cloud comes in various forms. All right, whether it's a storage, it's an email, YouTube, Facebook, these are all social media as a platform. All right, it's all part of a cloud. But for AWS is to run, let's dive into a little bit here. AWS is to run data centers. All right, so it's slightly a different format of cloud environment. This is more towards enterprise solution, you will run application, but you can still use it for individual usage here. So first and foremost, we need to understand, like I mentioned, AWS started, of course, in the America region back in 2005. That's where they started they started for ebook actually from Amazon side. They first started selling books. Then they realized, hey, with the technology of virtualization, when we can start partitioning hardware, we can create this as a model and do a subscription business for our user, where user no longer have to buy items, all right? They just need to subscribe to it via pay-as-you-go models here. So like I mentioned, AWS has been growing for the past 20 years. So now they have global data centers all around the world. Malaysia is one of the latest one that is up and running. They released this back in August last year. Malaysia has a data center for AWS right now that is already available since August of last year. And they are not done with Malaysia yet. They are still building and growing Malaysia's sector. All right. Do take note, AWS has invested a $6 billion US. All right. They have invested $6 billion US into building data centers in Malaysia for AWS cloud services. So sooner or later, more and more companies, more and more organizations will start moving towards cloud. Right now is the perfect time for you to jump on board and learn, of course, for this session here, master how can we do this migration. All right, whether it's from on-prem, from your own data center, from your own office, you want to move towards AWS cloud, or from another third-party cloud, like some of you from Azure, you want to start moving to AWS as well. That's what we're going to learn about here. All right, so do take note, in AWS as well, there's more than 200 plus services. Remember, this is where I mentioned, especially with these 200 plus services that we have here, this is where we have to understand there is multiple solution to multiple requirements here. Sorry. All right. This is where we have to understand. Like if you want to just get a compute services, we have all sorts of compute. We have a small compute, we have a medium, we have a large, we have containers environment, just different type. It's like if you want to rent a car, we have a sedan, we have an MPV, we have a lorry, we have a van, for example, just all types of services available for you to run here. Of course, now, one of the things that we will look at, part of our challenges later to understand about AWS migration, one of the most important thing is security. All right. I'm not sure about other countries, but I think Malaysia, we have this concept whereby I want to say we are a little bit insecure. Why? In the sense that if I don't see it, I don't trust it in a way. All right. For example, if I take my mobile phone, okay, I put my data into my mobile phone. I save data into my mobile phone. Do I feel secure? Yes, I feel secure because I can see it. It's right in front of me. No one can take this phone away from me unless someone came up rob me right now, that's a different story. All right. But I feel secure because now the phone is my responsibility. It's with me right now. But what if I store data in, let's say, Google Drive, OneDrive, and so on? You might think, oh, this is all online. What if someone comes and hack into the system? Or if someone comes and steal my data? We kind of don't feel secure. I'm not sure if it's just Malaysia. I think Malaysia, so far I've seen a lot when I ask organizations and so on. One of the biggest questions they always ask is security. So to ease everyone's worries here, do take note, security is one of the top priority in any cloud environment. All right, it's actually more secure than most data centers, individual organizations, data centers that are running. Because before they build any services, they'll look at the security layer. And their security layer is not just, okay, let me just wrap, let's say my package, just one wrap. They're going to create multiple layers around it to ensure the security of your usage right here. All right. And of course, just lastly right here, it's built for all sorts of businesses. All right. Whether you're a startup company, you're a medium, you're SMB company, all right, you're a medium-sized company, large corporation, all right, or even individual usage, AWS is meant for all business usage right here. Okay. And nowadays, especially all around the world, startup is one of the main users for cloud environment as well. Because when you're a startup company, you're going to think of, oh, I need to build an office, I need to get my servers, everything up and ready. No, with cloud environment, all you need is a laptop and an internet browser. You can start building your own data centers online. That's AWS services right here. With global data centers available all around, you can easily reach your customer all around the world as well, if you're looking at the international market here. All right. So this is just a quick introduction on AWS side. Now let's take a look at why users or customers are moving towards AWS. Okay, so we look at some of the positivity and some of the things that they reduce as well, some of the things they don't have to worry. There's advantages on both sides right here. First and foremost, if we look at the very first item here, the time for you to deploy an application, the time for you to interact with your customer, we call it accelerate your time to market. If you have a new project up and ready, how long does it take for you to get your services up and running? So with this accelerate time to market, there's one very simple way to think of this. All right, everyone has a mobile phone, correct? I believe every one of us here has a mobile phone. So imagine right now at this very second, okay, just now I mentioned phone very secure, correct? But imagine if someone stole your mobile phone right now, or you dropped it somewhere, you lose it. Your entire mobile phone is gone. All right. Let's say, imagine you might have a backup of a data on a cloud, Google Drive, iCloud, for example. Okay. You have a backup of data, no problem. The phone is missing right now. So you need your phone to start doing your work. Let's say you need WhatsApp, you need to run application and so on. So my question to everyone here is, how long will it take for you to get a new phone up and running again? It might be quite a while, correct? Some of you might be very meticulous. You're going to do research. Okay, I lose my current phone. Let me see what's the next best phone, maybe within my budget. You might want to do research. It might take half a day. Once you're happy, tomorrow you place your order. Tomorrow you get your phone. It might be within a few days, correct? Or even if you're just very simple, you say, oh, I just need any phone for me to do my work. Let me go to the hardware shop right now. Let me go to a phone shop, buy a new phone. You need to set it up again. It will still take you hours, correct? So that few hours is what we call a downtime, where you have no connectivity to your customer. You're not available to your customer right now because your phone is gone. So with cloud environment, this is where the advantage comes in. Everything is available on cloud. Remember, allow me to just jump back. Remember, with cloud, you go with a subscription model, pay as you go. The cloud environment has everything ready for you, everything set up. Imagine you go to a shop with all the phones ready, up and running. You don't have to charge, services account, everything. You can easily just migrate in. Everything ready for you. You just click and play. Oh, I just want to borrow this iPhone for 5 hours. You pay for 5 hours, the iPhone is ready for you. You can get it up and ready in minutes. That's the advantages of using cloud. You don't have to worry whether the shop, hey, do you have iPhone? Do you have a Samsung Galaxy, for example? Do you have a Xiaomi or do you have Huawei phone, for example? You don't have to worry whether they have it. Because in cloud, we usually have a variety of services, remember. We have 200 plus services that is ready and available for you. All right, that's one of the advantages here. Second, this is where what I would say, all of it is one of the main criteria or main advantages for cloud. But to me, one of the if I were to choose one out of all these, which is the best, it's always this increased innovation right here. Why? So for this portion here, we have to understand one thing. One thing that is constant in the IT world, one thing that is constant is that there will always be changes. Why? Because we are always getting better and better and better and better. That's the evolution of IT. All right. If you just take a look at mobile phones, for example, mobile phones is a very, very good example here. All right. What does Apple do every September? Okay. They're going to release a new iPhone, correct? Every September, they're going to release a new iPhone. I believe this year is going to be iPhone 17, if I'm not wrong. So what's the difference between iPhone 17 and iPhone 16? They're going to tell you better camera, better CPU, better memory, better storage space, better battery life, for example, or whichever there is. Everything is just going to get better and better and better. iPhone has never failed so far. Every year they release a new model. Every year it gets better. So in the IT world, same thing. We're going to have better CPU chipset and so on, better memory, better storage, for example. We're going to release a new item maybe every few years down the road. Intel has a timeline. Every 18 months, Intel will release a new CPU chipset. So as a user, if we go back to mobile phone for a moment, I'm usually using mobile phone as a comparison. As a mobile phone user, can you keep up to date with the latest technology available? Are you going to spend, Malaysia, I think it's like the cheapest iPhone, like 3,000 to 4,000? Are you going to spend 3,000 to 4,000 every year to change a new iPhone? And even if you do, what's going to happen to your old iPhone? It's a bit of a waste of investment, correct? So this is where the beauty of cloud comes in. Like I mentioned, to me, this is, if I were to put it, this will be my number one reason why I would want to move towards cloud. Because in cloud environment, they will always integrate with the latest technology. Hey, today we got iPhone 16. All right, we have iPhone 16 in our system. User can subscribe. Remember, you don't buy the iPhone, you don't buy the services, you subscribe to it. You use it for 1 hour, we charge you 1 hour. You use it for 1 day, we charge you 1 day. That's it. All right. Tomorrow, iPhone 17 comes out. You can stop your subscription with iPhone 16. You can shut it down. You no longer have to pay for it. Now you can just subscribe to iPhone 17 that is available in the market. It just released. AWS will start to integrate into their system. So as a user, you no longer have to worry, do I need to buy a new one? Do I need to stay with the old one? That worry is easily solvable by migrating to the newest one, and you just subscribe to the new one. So remember, it's same with any IT environment. Today, we're running AI 1.0. You can run AI 1.0 system in AWS. What if tomorrow there's AI 2.0? We can see there's ChatGPT, now there's DeepSeek, there's more and more AI solutions that are coming out. What if you want to keep up to date with the latest technology available? AWS will always integrate. So remember, innovation is one of the things that I always like about cloud environment. All right. In cloud, there's something called we call it CI. All right. Just a short form. We call it CI or CD. It stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery. The keyword here is C. It's continuous. It's never ending. Since 2005 all the way to 2025 right now, we have continuously integrated system into our environment here. All right. And lastly, part of the agility portion right here is the scalability. In cloud, you imagine right now, again, another scenario. Imagine we are all business owners. Let's say restaurant. We are all restaurant owners right now. Every one of you are individual restaurant owners. Okay, you get a shop lot. Let's say the shop lot can cater for 50 customers. All right, at any time you can have 50 customers, not including your workers. 50 customers in your shop. So the question I will ask is, how many tables and chairs are you going to purchase? Or utensils as well. We count the necessities that your customer will be using. Table, chairs, utensils, your plates, your cups, all those necessities. You will most likely buy 50 sets, correct? Or maybe even slightly more. You will buy 50 or more depending on your optimism. All right, when you're optimistic, you think more customers will come in, you're going to buy more. But my question here to you is, if let's say we buy 50 sets, is your restaurant going to have 50 customers from the beginning, the moment you open your door? all the way to the end when you close your shop. Are you going to have 50 customers all the time? Most likely not, correct? So remember, but you upfront, you have to purchase all of this. I'm going to buy 50 tables, 50 chairs, 50 plates, 50 fork and spoon, for example. You're going to buy upfront. Whether you use it or not, you have already purchased it. Now, the beauty of cloud, remember, we're going through a subscription model. Only when you use it, we start charging you. That means in AWS, we can have all the tables, all the plates, everything ready for you. You don't have to pay a single cent if you're not using it. Only when your customers start coming in, you can start subscribing to it. You can now rent, so-called rent, a table and chair, a fork, a plate, and a spoon for you to use. So in cloud, you can scale. You can start very, very small. My target is 50. Let me start from 10 users first. If more and more customers come in, I can scale up. Now I pay $10 per hour because I only got 10 customers. All right. When more and more customer comes in, I upgrade to 20, to 30, to 40. Then you just pay $20, $30, $40. All right. What if it's after lunch hour? Peak period is gone. Now we scale back down. All right. Customers are gone. Now we go back down to 30, to 20, to 10. Now you pay just 10 ringgit again. So that's the beauty of cloud. This scaling seamlessly actually ties with your optimizing costing as well. Because you can start big, you can start small, you can grow and shrink. It helps you to adjust your costing right here. You don't have to upfront buy 50 tables and chairs. These are the advantages of why we're going to AWS. So part of your planning, you could think of what are the sizing and costing you have here. All right. Now, the rest of the portion is more towards manageability. It's very simple. Remember, I mentioned AWS will put security as our top priority right here. So you minimize your security vulnerabilities. Sometimes you build your own data center, you build your own office and so on, you put in firewall, you put in security services. It might not be as detailed as what AWS is doing. Like I mentioned, AWS is creating multiple layers of security on top of each other to ensure every user that are coming in, they will feel secure. So all this, most of this right here, you don't even have to pay, you don't even have to manage. They are all done by AWS. But do take note, on AWS side, on any cloud environment, there is something we call a shared responsibility. It's whereby, of course, when let's say if I rent a mobile phone to you, for example, all right, the hardware will belong, the responsibility will belong to me. I'm the renter. If anything, if the camera got issue, the charging point got issue, that's my responsibility. But when you use the phone, remember what application you install or what you use it for and so on, that will be your responsibility. So there's always a shared responsibility, but at least half of it are done by AWS side. You minimize your security vulnerabilities here. All right. And when you don't have to worry about security right here, you reduce, of course, your manageability. Hey, if the power supply got issue, the cable, charging cable, for example, all right, the port, the hard disk, the CPU got issue, for example, who are responsible for all this? AWS. All right. Have you ever need to worry about your Gmail, your Google Drive, for example? Have you ever need to worry about if power supply not enough, hard disk, ROSA or anything? Have you ever need to worry about any of this? None. Why? Because any hardware failure, manageability will be done by cloud providers here. Okay. So these are the few advantages. Again, depending on why you want to move towards cloud, there's various reasons, whether you're starting from small to larger environment as well. So remember, a proper planning, understand why we want to use cloud. Does it benefit you? Of course, if you think about it, if there's no beneficial, no worries. We don't force you to move towards cloud, of course. But cloud has so many advantages, even if you want to start using it as just a small portion, that will do. All right. Now, lastly, for the planning portion, so now we know why we want to move towards cloud. So you do your planning, all right, remember, okay, we've decided we want to go to Langkawi. We want to use AWS. All right, we want to use AWS service. Now you start doing a proper planning part to understand which region or which services you want to start using. Oh, I want to use a virtual machine on AWS. I want to use a container services on AWS, for example. I want to use a database on AWS. So now you're going to start planning where do you want to deploy, especially in terms of region. Remember, AWS is available worldwide. We have in America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, it's all available. All right. So which region do you want to select? Like even nearer to our environment, we have Malaysia, we have Bangkok, we have Manila, we have Singapore, we have Indonesia, for example. So where do you want to choose your services to be deployed here? So just some factors here, very simple. Number one, it depends on, these are the four main factors right here. Number one is your governance and legal requirement. So in Malaysia, sometimes depending on your sector, all right, if it's a FSI sector, your financial environment and so on, data cannot leave the country. It must be stored locally. So for banking sectors and so on, if they are allowed to use cloud environment and so on, they must deploy in Malaysia, for Malaysian, for example. So it depends on governance and legal requirement. That can be one of the reasons. All right. If your organization allows you to store data anywhere else, then you might start to choose other region depending on requirement as well. But governance and legal requirement, that's number one. Number two, latency. The nearer your services are to your customer, the faster your user can use the services. Imagine right now, all of us want to get a cup of coffee. We go look for the nearest kopitiam, or we go look for Zeus Coffee, for example, anywhere. I'm based in Infosyte is based in Puchong, for example. If I'm in Puchong, I'm going to go to Puchong, let's say Bandar Putri or wherever, to start looking for my cup of coffee, correct? I'm not going to go all the way to KL City Center just to get a cup of coffee. That will take me an hour drive just to go in. If I go to Puchong, it will just take me 5 minutes. So region selection will impact, of course, your latency. Where are the majority of your customers right now? That's where you want to select nearest to them so they can access the system faster. All right. The last two items right here is not, I wouldn't really say major impact, but it's still a consideration when you start thinking about it. Remember, AWS, we have 200 plus services available. Do take note, not all 200 plus services is available in every region. All right. Certain services are only applicable in certain region. So depending on the services you need to use, that's where you select certain region again as well. Okay. And lastly, different region might have different costing. The costing won't be that much of a difference. Some might just be a few cents. For example, if you buy a server in Malaysia, it might cost you 1 ringgit. You buy a server in Singapore, it might cost you 1.01, right? Or 1.05, for example. So different region might have different costing. So you might want to start planning about that. Okay, these are the factors for you to choose your region. So start doing your planning. All right. My saying is, if you always do a proper planning, all right, when you do a proper planning at the very beginning, it helps out your entire usage later on. All right. So yeah, don't mind the question. You can just put it in the chat. I'll answer later on when we have a short Q&A session. All right. Okay, now we need to understand the next portion right here. So remember, we already selected our destination. I want to go to AWS, or we want to go Langkawi for a holiday. Now, what's the mode of transportation? Where are we staying? And what are we doing in Langkawi as well? So we look at our migration model. Remember, there's multiple solutions to just a single requirement. To get from Kuala Lumpur to Langkawi right now, how will we do it? So in AWS, it's very simple. It's just a one slide to explain. Slightly longer, just bear with me for a while. We have our 7 migration strategy here. We call them the 7 R's. All right. Relocate, rehost, replatform, refactor, repurchase, and then the other 2 is what you want to do with your existing environment, retain or retire. So we just take a look at the first 5 strategies here. Remember, you can drive there, you can fly there, you can walk, you can cycle, you can take public transport. There's multiple ways you can do so. All right. So just imagine right now, if you have a database, let's say in your office, you have a database, you want to move towards the cloud environment. Relocating is very simple. All right. I just take whatever I have right now in my on-prem, I'm moving to the cloud environment. It's like pindah rumah. All right. You're moving houses. Okay. I got a box of furniture, for example. All right. We're moving from KL to Langkawi, for example. I like the beach environment, for example. I just want to stay near the beach all the time. All right. So I got my furnitures, for example. So relocating is very simple. I take my furnitures, put it, let's say, in the transportation, shipping, or I'm feeling adventurous. I want to drive all the way there with my van, with my lorry. I just relocated my items back to AWS region. All right. Here, this is our AWS site. So relocating is just a simple, what we call just moving everything entirely back to AWS side. It's just relocating. Quite straightforward. Everything you have in your on-prem, we move towards the relocate, move all these objects into the cloud environment. All right. Rehost is where it's slightly different. All right. Rehost is where we move the application side. We don't move the hardware. We don't move the items. We just move the application side and bring it all the way to cloud. Rehost is like, now we use the fridge as an example. All right. Instead of moving my entire fridge from one side to another side, I take out all the items in my fridge, my eggs, my vegetable, my fruits, everything. I bring it with me. I go to AWS side, I store in AWS fridge. That's called rehosting, also known as what we call a lift and shift. So that's another strategy as well. You want to move the entire hardware, you want to just move your application side without any changes? Sure, that's what you can do as well. You can lift and just shift. That's rehosting. Quite straightforward as well. Now, the next one is re-platform. This is where we do, it's similar to lift and shift, but re-platform here in the middle. When I lift it, we tinker around with it. We do some changes and we shift it across. Why? Because maybe the fridge in AWS side is bigger. The fridge on my side is smaller. Hey, now I can store more items. I can store better items, for example. So my eggs, for example, oh, instead of a one egg, now I can take out my egg, I can crack it, stir it around, all right? Make all the egg yolks stir together. Perfect. Now I store it. Instead of a perfect egg, now I have a stir egg that is available for me. So you can do what we call lift, then you can tinker, you can do some changes for it, optimize it to fit better on AWS environment, and we move it around. That is re-platform. All right. Rehost is just lift and shift. Take my items, one side, put it to the other side. Re-platform, I take my item, I do some changes, all right? I do some changes, edit or whichever there is, then only I move it. Okay, that's re-platform. The fourth one here, we have refactoring or also known as re-architecting as well. This is you're changing your application environment entirely. All right, I'm no longer storing it in the fridge. Now I buy a proper freezer, I buy a proper chiller, for example. You re-architect it. It's no longer fridge to fridge. I move it to fridge, maybe straight away to a pan. All right, I want to serve my customer ready. I don't want an egg that I still need to cook. I straight away cook it. Now it's an egg, put it in a nice container, I move it around. You re-architect the thing entirely. It's not meant for storage purposes anymore. It's meant for you to eat straight away. So based on your application as well, instead of, let's say, virtualization environment, we move it to container. Your database, we can even move it into a container platform, for example, a microservices powered by AI, for example. So you can re-architect your entire applications right here. That's refactoring and re-architect. Or another option where this is slightly more expensive, you repurchase everything. All right, guys, all the eggs we have in our fridge right now, we leave it behind. Straight away, I go AWS, I buy more eggs. I buy new eggs. You can straight away repurchase. So of course, this will help in terms of your migration part. You don't have to worry about how do I move my eggs. What if when I move my egg, one of the egg crack, for example, then I'm going to rebuild from my backup. So you can repurchase everything entirely on AWS if required to. Okay, these are the 5 main strategies. You can easily, just reminder, you can easily relocate everything. You can lift and shift, just bring your items in your fridge. You can lift, you can tinker, then you move it. You can re-architect as well, just change your entire egg environment from a raw egg to a cooked egg. You can re-architect it, or you just repurchase straight away on cloud. All right. So these are the 5 main strategies. Now, the last 2 here is what's going to happen if I lift and shift, for example. I take all the items from my fridge, I put it into AWS. What's going to happen to your existing fridge? Are you going to retain it? Okay, I keep it in my office. So my workers can come in, next time they buy AIs, AOIs, they got a place to keep in the fridge. You can still retain it for other usage. Or is it time to retire it? So is there a purchase? Or maybe I can do a trade-in. Somewhere, some electrical company, they can do a trade-in. I can take back some profit, for example, some of the costing. Is entirely up to you. So remember, all of this right here, yes, there's multiple ways to go. Remember, some of them, there's going to be different in terms of costing. There's going to be difference of cost in terms of how you do migrating. Some are quite simple. Rehosting is quite simple. Lift and shift. I just take the eggs, I just move it around. Re-platform, now you got to tinker a little bit. Of course, you got to do some optimizing and so on. Re-architecting might be a bit more complex, but remember, it might benefit you a lot because you're keeping up in touch with the latest technology. Right now, I'm using iPhone 14, for example. This is a different phone. It's a Huawei Honor phone here. But imagine you got an iPhone 14. Now you want to migrate to iPhone 17. We can do a re-architect, or you move to Samsung Galaxy. Let's say Samsung Galaxy suddenly release a very powerful phone. You re-architect entirely. Now you get to keep in touch with the latest technology, and your application will still be able to run. These are what we call refactoring and re-architecting. All right. Or repurchasing, if you want an easier mode, like I mentioned, you can straight away just buy the newest one straight away available. All right. These are our 7 migration strategies right here. And finally, remember, now we know, okay, we've done our planning, everything is good. We want to go Langkawi. I'm going to move everything all over. My fridge, some I'm going to bring over, some I'm just going to bring furniture. What are the challenges? All right. So there are, whenever we go to cloud, all right, or any migration items in general, not even in cloud, there are challenges in terms of a few things. Number one, like I mentioned, it's always data security. How do we usually transfer data from on-prem to cloud? Imagine if I want to transfer data from my laptop right now. Let's say I just want to put into Google Drive and so on, a simple cloud environment, OneDrive, Dropbox, anywhere. We just use the internet to upload, correct? So is there any data protection during the transition when I move my data across? So you're worried about that. So like I mentioned, security is one of the top priorities on cloud. We always have security layers where you can do encryption of your data during migration as well. On AWS, we always have that. All right. But just to let you know, these are some of the worries people think about data security. Now, the second one, when I start moving my data across, what about my current services? Do I need to shut it down? Do I have to tell my customer, sorry, Mr. Customer, today we are not in business. I have to move everything to the cloud environment. You come and look for us tomorrow. All right. Imagine if Shopee and Lazada has that item to tell you. Shopee suddenly come and tell you, sorry guys, today we are not in service because I'm moving services into cloud. What happened? Shopee not available, we go Lazada. Simple, correct? You lose out your business to your competitor. So how can we minimize our services interruption? How can I reduce it? Can I do what we call online migration? Of course, yes, we can. There are solutions for that. And in cloud, remember, everything is pay per use. So how do you ensure you don't overrun your costing? What if I buy 10 servers? Do I need 10 servers? You scared you over purchase and so on. That's where we will do optimization. Set a budget limitation. So when you do your migration, you know you can stay within your costing. And lastly, this is more towards, again, governance. Locality, like Malaysia, you need your data to stay internally. So more towards compliance issue, where you have to look at your regulation during your migration. So these 4 right here are the main challenges that users are always looking at. And of course, on AWS side, we do have a lot of solutions to help out in terms of encrypting your data, in terms of doing online migration where your services can continuously run. We can do a budget limitation to ensure you stay in cost. And of course, compliance, we have reports and so on as well that could help with compliance issues here. All right. So always remember, just to sum up all of this right here, in conclusion, very, very important. Always the first item right here is understand the very beginning part. All right. If you build a house, for example, you need to build a very strong foundation first, correct? All right. If you build a very strong foundation, your house will be sturdy, it will be nice, of course, it will be useful and so on. If you build a very, very weak foundation, a wind blow, Malaysia, we got a bit of monsoon season and so on, rainy season, suddenly big rain, your entire house just collapse. So always do a proper assessment and planning. Where do we want to go? What are the type of models migration that we want to use here? Understand our current infra, what's the latest technology available, how do we want to migrate. Once you've done that planning, now we execute it. Utilize AWS migration tool. We have various migration tools, like I mentioned, to do encryption, to do online migration, to do optimization as well, to minimize your downtime. Now, once your migration job is done, let's say I move A to B, do take note, your job is not complete. As a cloud user, your job will never, I want to say your job is never complete. Remember the word C, the alphabet C, because in cloud, it's always continuous here. So once you've done migrating, now we do optimization and manageability. Hey, is my system optimized to my current usage? I got 10 servers, maybe I only need 8. you can reduce the number of servers after you monitor and optimize to help with cost efficiency, and how to fully utilize all your existing environment or all the resources that are available from AWS part as well. All right, that's it from my side. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Mr. Luke, as well. And thank you for everyone for participating and for asking your questions. Thank you again for the ones who missed out on the attendance. Here you are. The QR code is right here, okay? So bye. See you in our next session.